Welcome to the RC shop here in the Creepy Crawler's garage. This week we're hinging the hood on the Gremlin so we can get access to the engine bay. Bulgar RC brought an AMC Gremlin into the shop the other week. I think we can try to do something pretty cool with it, but it's going to take a lot of body work. And to start that body work, we're going to have to tear this body down to its bare bones.
Most of the body comes apart very simply with a few screws, and we went ahead and took care of that earlier.
While most of it came apart very easily, some of it's not going to be as simple.
I'm guessing for ease and cost of assembly, the factory glued many pieces in place, like the tail lights and the rear bumper, and worst of all, the windows. And we need to preserve these windows, and they're heavily glued in place. Also, there's a screw we can't access on the front light buckets due to a plastic piece.
This Gremlin was cheaply manufactured, and I think all the glue and oddly placed screws were to help to keep the cost down during manufacturing. But that's no problem, we can take care of it. In fact, is that music I hear in the background? I think it's montage time. It turned out a lot of the glue was old and brittle and was easily removed. But what wasn't old and brittle was the glue holding the window unit in. You didn't see it in the montage, but I rage quit many times. I spent hours sanding the glue off of those windows because I didn't want to damage the body or the window unit.
This window unit is irreplaceable, and I'm going to need it when I mold new windows, so it's imperative I don't damage it. Now we've got a completely stripped down body and a good base to work from. There is going to be a lot of body work needed.
First, I think we'll start by removing the glue residue left behind by the decals.
The cheap stickers that came on the body left a lot of glue behind when we removed them. There's a few ways to remove it, but the easiest way I've used is with an adhesive remover like Goof Off.
This body is irreplaceable, and before I put any chemical on it, I want to test it first.
I'm going to use the window to test on. I'm pretty sure it's made of the same plastic the body is. Yep, that's why you test it first. It started dissolving the plastic. That would have made a mess of the body. I think I'll just wet sand it away. I could try using lighter fluid, but I think wet sanding will be the safest option, and I don't want to take any chances. Worked pretty well. Left some discoloration, but that will be taken care of down the line at the body shop. Now I think it's time we start hinging that hood.
All right, guys, I think it's time we take care of what we all came here to see. Cue the montage. That's got the hood removed and roughed in, but there's still a lot of work to do. But we're gonna have to do that right after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, guys. Before the commercial break, while I was cutting the hood, I had removed the front grille and light assembly. Well, we're going to need to reinstall that to ensure that everything's square when we fit the hood.
I'll use the factory glue points to remount the grille, and I made sure to clean all the old glue and sand it nice and smooth. I want the new bond to be better than the original. CA glue and activator make quick work of it. I do the exact same thing on both sides. And there you have it. We now know everything is going to be square when we start setting gaps and mounting the hinges. There's no worries.
That all looks good so far, but that was the easy part.
This hood has a lot of extra structure that doesn't look exactly factory correct to me. I don't think this is how an AMC Gremlin hood looked back in the day. This is all going to have to be removed.
I'm really not sure if there's a great way to go about this.
But I think I'll start by hacking most of it off with a saw. I guess that's progress. I'll use a Dremel to get most of the rest of the way through it. I'll stop short. I really don't want to nick the hood with the Dremel. That would just make more work for myself. Okay, from here, I'll use sandpaper and an X-Acto knife to take it down smooth.
For you guys, that went by fast. For me, it took hours.
But I think it turned out really nice. Still a few imperfections, but those can be taken care of with some body filler.
Now that the hood is worked down to a recognizable shape,
I can measure for the hinges. I'll need these measurements to send over to the fab shop to ensure these hinges fit properly when they put them together.
I'll get those measurements over to the fab shop and they'll put some hinges together for me. But while they're doing that, there's something I need to take care of on the body.
Right now, the hood would just fall through the fenders when closed, so it's going to need a lip to rest against, and that can be taken care of with just a couple styrene strips. I'll use the edge of the fender to trace the shape I need and sand it down to match the traced lines.
The styrene strips are sanded down to a shape that fits perfectly, but they're a little flimsy.
That's no problem. I'll stiffen them up by gluing strips together. I used the original strip I made as a template to create another for the opposite side of the hood. There are a few imperfections under the fenders that will need to be cleaned up before we glue the strips we made, and this is very important to assure a good bonding surface and that the strips lay flat.
The strips are completed and ready to glue in place.
But first we'll need to tape the hood in place. The gaps left and right are not important. What we want to make sure is that the hood edges are flush and level to the fenders. That way, when we glue in our strips, we know the hood will close perfectly.
I'm confident we have the hood aligned.
So now it's just a matter of using a little CA glue and activator and gluing. Son of yeah, felt good, yep. That left a little of my finger behind. I'm going to continue gluing, being a little more careful to miss my fingers. What's most important during the process is that we don't glue the hood shut, so I'll check along the way.
The strip's glued in place easy enough, minus a fingertip.
But now we need to reduce their thickness by sanding them down to match the fenders. Quick rinse after sanding, and I think they're looking good. We also need to fill those small imperfections that were left in the hood, and we'll do that with some body filler. That's nice and smooth. Another test fit, and we're looking good. Now we'll align the gaps left to right and tape the hood back in place to prepare to have the hinges installed.
We taped the hood in place with the gaps on both sides aligned as best as possible, and the fab shops brought over the finished hinges.
Now it's just a matter of gluing them in place. We want to make sure and align them just right so the hood works smoothly, so I take my time when placing them. Once placed perfectly, I'll glue them, resulting in a nice, smooth, functioning hood.
Before we call the hood finished and send it off to the body shop, I think there's one more thing we need to do.
And that's add a little detail under the hood. I created a paper template that I used to cut out a styrene piece that will look like support structure under the hood. A little body filler and a coat of primer, and you can see how it's coming together. I think down the line we'll add some underhood insulation to finish off the look.
It was a lot of work and cost me a fingertip, but in the end I think the hood turned out well. Now we can add details in the engine bay, and with the hood up we'll be able to see them. I think we'll do the same thing to the doors and the back hatch, but that's going to have to wait because we're out of time for this week. Thanks for joining me again here in the garage, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.